Well, it's a good evening here in Springwood. That's Queensland, Australia, home of the kangaroos and koala bears. And for all our listeners at different parts of the world, we welcome you to our show tonight. And just here over in the main screen there, we've got Daphne Fung, a wonderful woman, and courtesy of the lady below in the blue is my co-host and Julia, who's organised this evening show. And with that, I pass you on to Julia.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Dreaming the New Dream. We're delighted to have Daphne Fung join us today. Daphne Fung is based in Toowoomba and operates the healing center there. She is born in Hong Kong. She studied traditional Chinese medicine, a lot of things, Oriental psychology, as well as Feng Shui, kinesiology, aromatherapy, reflexology, esoteric acupuncture, and esoteric studies and in advanced energy healings. Opened your clinic and healing center in 2003. Welcome, Daphne Fung.
Yes. Hi, Julia. Hi, Jeffrey.
Good to have you on this show. So, Daphne, you've obviously immersed yourself in the studies of esoteric wisdom and healing. Can you tell us about sort of, what your journey on this road was, please?
Yes, it's I would say it's been a pretty stretched out sort of journey, but I think with all journeys it's a bit like that, isn't it? You don't realise you're on a special journey until it actually comes together for you. And I guess like everybody else, when you're young and sociable, you do all those sort of things. You don't think about your future. But I think it was in the early 1990s that I guess you would say I had my first little awakening and introduced to esoteric studies or spiritualities or even the old tarot card reading. I was never exposed to any of that. But that's when I met my teacher, my spiritual teacher, my master in the early 90s in Toowoomba. And he introduced me to a lot of energy work and healing. But even then I found that it was way over my head because I didn't think I was ready at that stage to that degree to what I was being shown. So I left that for a little while and prodded along through the years, about a good 10 years down the track, just playing with it. Ideas come, ideas go. And it wasn't until I had studied beauty therapy in Toowoomba. I was always interested in health anyway, from my Asian background, from my parents, my dad. But then when I studied beauty therapy, I was really interested in making people look good. So I had a clinic for 10 years in Toowoomba, and I totally enjoyed that. But towards the later part of that, I was very disheartened because what I was doing was making them look good, making people look good. But then it really sort of hit me hard when I was realizing that I'm hearing all these problems and issues and health with people that I wasn't able to give them an answer to. And I think that was really like a stab in the heart, thinking there's got to be more to it than that. And I did some soul searching and thinking, and I remembered, my father, who was really quite influential when it comes to health and herbs and supplements, because he was a monk in old time China, and then the war broke out and he sort of never finished it. So he sort of influenced me in that way with Chinese medicine. And that's when 2000, the millennium came, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to make a change. So I did. I sold my business, and then I went into full-time studies for traditional Chinese medicine. And I never looked back since. I spent from 2000, the next 10 years, just working on traditional Chinese medicine. Then I started getting bored. I was making people not only look good, but now they're looking good because they are feeling good, because they're better and healthier. And then I wanted more. I just thought it's got to be something else to it than just that. And I get bored. I need new stimulation. And then I was introduced to esoteric acupuncture with Dr. Mikio Sankey in LA. And he introduced that system in Australia back in 2011, I think, or 10. And I did that. And I thought, wow, that's just like a light bulb switched on for me. And I never looked back because it really just opened doorways, gateways, whatever you want to call it for me. And it really brought me back to the early 90s when my teacher was trying to show me the spiritual side of different things and energy healing. And it really gelled. And I really just dived into that from 2011. And really it took over my life, just the spiritual side of things. And then I went deeper, and then I was interested in all these esoteric studies. And I think it was about 3 or 4 years down the track that I would say, now looking back, I know what it is, but at the time it's like I'm thinking, what's happening? I don't know where all this is coming from. Now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I understood it was kind of like an awakening, and I was having remembrance of past lives, past experiences, but they're not full on dreams or episode, but they're bits and pieces, like bits of jigsaw puzzles. And I'm sort of thinking to myself, where did all that come from? What does all that mean? And why do I know that? And then I'm thinking, I must have read it somewhere. And you dismiss it, but then it got more and more reoccurring, and it felt right. And so I sort of really delved into more esoteric studies. And then about 5 years ago, I was really enthusiastic about combining my work. I just wanted to work on people to make them healthier and stronger. And then beyond that is to help them understand that they are more than a physical body. And that's why I developed and expanded my business into a healing center. So that now I encompass acupuncture, which is kind of like a little hideaway for me, because it's quite acceptable to say that you're an acupuncturist, and traditional Chinese medicine, everybody's exposed to that. But not everybody is comfortable with esoteric studies and healing modalities. So I was very fortunate that I was still enthusiastic about Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And that led me to be exposed to my clientele and help them to change, to awaken themselves and ask themselves, what is it all about? And why am I having all these ailments and complaints? And from there, it just grew. It just workshops, and then I started to change. My clientele started to change. And I saw myself changing. Every year I look back, I'm thinking I'm different to I was a couple of years ago. And the more I know about myself, excites me, because I'm learning about myself. And when I learn about myself, I apply it to other people. And it works, and it helps them to understand, look, I've been there as well. And now I'm really embracing the spiritual side of things. You know, that's why I specialize in the esoteric acupuncture. And then I also go a little bit beyond that now into the Akashic record readings for people. For myself mainly, it originally started for, because I started remembering past lives, bits and pieces. And that's what really drove me into learning more about Akashic and Akashic records, so that I can understand who am I, where have I been before, why do I do this, why do I react like that, and why do I think like that, why do I remember bits and pieces, where did that come from? And that's how I started learning about myself. And now I sort of apply it to other people. Yeah.
Definitely, that sounds like quite a joint journey. Really, you're very dedicated, obviously. So, what did you find out about yourself on that journey? You know, what are beyond the body that we're looking at, Daphne? You know, who else have you been, or what are you?
That's the exciting part, because really, you're just a shell. You're just a shell. a body, a physical body, and you're far beyond that. And you've got to learn to be able to see beyond that. It's very hard to look at yourself and see yourself not the body. You are just a spirit yourself, and you've got the power and the potential to do whatever you want to. It's just that we are entrapped in our emotions and thoughts from our three-dimensional way of thinking that we lock ourselves in. And that's the exciting part, because I learn my challenges and experiences every day. And then at the end of it, you laugh at yourself and you think, well, that wasn't such a big drama. That lesson was to teach you something. That was really simple. Hello. But it's taken me all this stressful days and hours and distraught and anxiety and anger and all these emotions. And you work through all that and you think, oh, gee, was that all that was all about? Now, why didn't I get that first up? But of course, if you do, what's the point of living? You know, there's no fun in having no challenges. You've got to have these challenges to teach you. And from that, it makes me excited knowing that I can do that. And if I can do that, so can everybody else, because we're all the same. That's the exciting part. You learn more about yourself. That's my whole journey, is to teach people. It's your journey. You've got to learn about yourself. Don't worry about learning about other people. It's yourself that you've got to learn about and help yourself so that you can help other people. It's very exciting.
Hey, your clinic there, I've had the privilege of going up there a couple of times with a mate. We had the Esoteric Acupuncture. So obviously people probably would think acupuncture is acupuncture, but in the true sense of the word there, you've understand the meridians and the chi points based on the Chinese understanding of the human body. You actually looking at all the geometrical patterns that are in life, and as a result, is superimpose it onto the actual meridians of the body, in which case then you then basically put your needles in certain spots that really represent different geometric patterns. That would be the best way to explain the scenario here.
Yeah. In layman terms, esoteric acupuncture, we're still using the same needles, still choosing the 365 and more points in the acupuncture chart. The only difference is that for a practitioner, you have to use selected patterns, and it's got to be in a sequence for it to work. It can't be just randomly put one here, one there, like in traditional acupuncture. So it must be in a sequence, and it must be a selected pattern. And the pattern decides, what do you want to create? What grid system do you want to create? How do you want to manipulate and change the energies of that person quickly using this particular pattern? So that's the biggest difference with that. So everything has to be a pattern and in sequence for it to work. And the main difference between the two is most acupuncturists in Australia or in the world are doing traditional acupuncture, and they're treating the signs and symptoms of your complaint. That's what it is for. And it helps to relax you and rebalance your body, and that's what it does. It doesn't do anything spiritual to the person because it doesn't reach that far. So where esoteric acupuncture comes from is that it's the total opposite. It's working on your energy system, your chakras, your non-physical body. It realigns that immediately. And once it realigns your chakras, your energy system, it filters down that energy, that correctness, that balanced energy into the nadis, which is the finer part of your meridian, then your meridian, and then your organs, glands, and tissues into the cells and subatomic particles of you. That's the difference. It hits every layer of your physical body and your non-physical body. I always describe it like a Rubik's Cube. You know, when people walk in, the colors are all over the place and random colors. But then by the time you have an esoteric acupuncture, it realigns all the colors are on the same side instantly. So you walk out in a blissful state. I got to the stage now I combine the two together. You get the best of both worlds. Yeah.
When you're talking at the beginning there, I could sense energy being water. And, you know, you might have a sudden shower of rain that reaches the top of a crest or whatever, and then it starts to clog up, and then it starts getting its own momentum, and then it finds its best path forward to start running down, the hillside. It gets blocked on occasions there until it actually starts building up more water behind it, so it can actually move the little stones or pebbles or go around it. So when you said that the difference here between esoteric acupuncture and normal acupuncture is that you do it in a set pattern, in a sequence. So I would suggest to you that if we're using the water analogy, when it comes down, the energy starts coming down, obviously. I'm just saying for the point of this discussion, from the crown chakra, so to speak, and it starts flowing through the body. You're actually removing those little energy blocks that stops, I'm using the water analogy, from clogging up. So you go there and you start piercing the whole body down, and so you allow the water to flow through until it reaches that big pool of water that we call the ocean. I'm trying to give you an analogy of using water as opposed to energy that's flowing through your meridians. If I was a listener, I'd grasp that conversation.
Yeah, it's similar effect like that. I suppose it's very hard to put something in linear terms or language when you're talking about energy, because energy flows all over. It's all different directions. It's not one direction. Same as your meridians. They don't flow in one direction. It flows all over. It's one. If you stretch all your meridians, just one big circle. So there's no beginning, no end, right? So it's very hard to put that into linear form.
Right.
So when you're resetting the body's energy system, that's what happens, because it's just chaotic energy. It's here, there, it's everywhere. It's going all over the place. But when you reset it with esoteric acupuncture, it's flowing in the proper direction. You form that big circle once more. There's no blockages, there's no beginning, there's no end, just continuous flow. Whereas before, you've got stop signs here, there, and everywhere. You've got roadblocks here, everywhere. It's going this way, that way, that way.
So when I'm going to use another analogy. So when you see the magnet, or you see our planet itself with a torus field where you've got north and south poles, and how the energy flows up and then comes right around and back into the south pole, you get that whole magnetic field.
Yep.
When you talk about the circle, you're talking about the same circle, basically what happens around the planet. Yeah.
Yes, it would be similar. The rise and the fall. But if you want to use that's fine. That would be what we're encompassing. You can see that the famous picture of the magnet going around like that, and the center is the pole. You can say the center pole that's all your main chakras in there, and it flows up and down, up and down.
Cool.
When you have an ailment or disease or any sort of complaint, it doesn't flow as well. It's got hiccups and it's got roadblocks, it's got stop signs, it's got giveaway signs. Some of them's not even working. And then you have stuck energy or stuck chi.
So when a client comes to you, do you have an inner eye that's open and you can actually see the actual person and their energy field and see where it's blocked, or do you use a pendulum, or you just have a great sense of knowing?
Okay, in my original training for traditional acupuncture, you would do your normal, your talking consultation. You would do your pulse diagnosis, which everybody may have heard of, or tongue diagnosis, looking at the tongue, and of course lots and lots of questions. Now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I don't do any of that. And if my teacher is listening to me, she's probably in shock and horror. Oh my gosh, she doesn't do tongue and pulse diagnosis. What is she doing? You get past that. I know this is my experience and my work now. When somebody walks into me, they have already given me permission and consent to tap into their field. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. All right. So once you tap into them, you do your normal consultation, you take their details, you talk to them, and then they tell you what their problem is, and so forth and so forth. And you have the ability, after so many years, of clicking all that together really fast and then come up with the prognosis really fast and then give them an answer really, really fast. And you manage to do that within a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds. So you answer them to say, okay, you have this back pain, so we'll look at that and we'll have a look at how we can treat that. But at the same time, that's only your physical mouth and voice saying that. But already in here, it's already connected to their point, their higher consciousness, or in other words, my heart is connected to theirs, and I hear what they're really trying to tell me, but not in words, because there are always an underlying emotional, mental issues involved, and you really need to get into that to understand them. That's the esoteric part, is when you make the connection and you already go insights of them, not without the permission, because they have already given you consent anyway. So you get into the deeper root part of the problem, and then you have to decide quickly, is this person ready to hear that or not? And you'll know pretty quickly what sort of person you're speaking to. If they're a really open-minded person like you, so Jeffrey, I'm seeing you. I know you're open-minded, you're familiar with all these things. I would say to you, okay, what about this, this, and this? Have you thought about those emotions and that issue? And what about your spirituality? And that's what I would talk to you about, that to that degree, and get the reactions from you. But if it was somebody who just says, fix my back, I've got a sore back, I've got to go back to work, done. That's all you do. So you have to assess that person at the level of consciousness. How much did I want to know, and how much did I want to be well? And I mean truly well, or just fix me up so I can go back to work and do the same thing. So when you get to the way I diagnose, that's why I don't use pulse diagnosis anymore, for that reason, because it doesn't tell me enough. In here tells me more. I see more in here, and then I know more from the heart. That tells me all that I need to know for that person. And I always get results, because your heart doesn't tell lies. And this is never wrong, what you see in here. When they tell you things, sometimes they lie. People tell lies. I tell lies. But you can't tell lie in your heart. And that's what you want to tap into. And that's where the esoteric work comes in. Because the more you have esoteric acupuncture, and I do it on myself as well, the more you open up. The more you open up, the faster you can transfer information from your crown into your head, into your heart a lot quicker, and out through your throat. So the more you practice on yourself first, again, it's not knowing about yourself, understanding yourself, the more you become at one with yourself and live the spirit that you are. You know, a long time ago, my teacher told me back in the 90s, says, live in spirit 24/7. And that just went way over my head. I thought, what are you talking about? I have no idea what that is. That's just way behind my understanding. Now I understand. It has taken me, over 20 years to work that out. So it's a journey. Yeah. Live in spirit 24/7. That's what you are. There's no difference between 3D, 5D, 6D. You're in spirit all the time. And that's what I'm aiming at. Yeah. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. And Daphne, you must have had a lot of success with the esoteric acupuncture to basically embrace it and move away from what you were doing traditionally.
Yeah, absolutely. When I got so excited about it back in the early 2011 and 12 about esoteric, I was so excited. I was still friends with my teacher from college, and I told her all about it, and some of my colleagues, and they thought I was crazy. They just thought, you can't do that. You have to do tongue and pulse like I taught you, sort of thing. And I thought, no, it just doesn't feel right. So I just embraced it and I ran with it, and I haven't looked back. And I accept that now, because I couldn't understand, why doesn't she get excited like I am with this? I couldn't understand why, because I was excited, and I'm thinking, why aren't they? Why isn't everybody doing that in acupuncture instead of the old 2,000-year-old stuff that they're doing? But now I'm understanding, okay, everybody's level of consciousness is different. They have to do it and help those people with that level. And I do what I do at my level for people who are ready for that. So, yeah.
It's like the guy, the outside toilet. Someone came along and said, I think you can put one inside, you know. You're the one who's decided that you can put one inside, and then you can decide, well, I can put 3 toilets inside a house. So you've actually moved on. I'd say that you've actually outmastered the master.
I wouldn't like to say I outmastered my master. I think it's just a different journey. Yeah, because we're all masters at the end of the day. She is, I am, you are, and everybody is. It's just different ways of looking at a thing. You've got to have a mixture. It's like I call it a minestrone soup, you know, a big pot of minestrone soup. One's a carrot, one's a potato, one's a pea. You know, we're all in the same soup, so it doesn't matter.
Jules, you got anything else?
I think I'll be the pea. Yeah, I'm actually interested in the kind of geometric shapes that you use. Is there a sort of set correspondence with the planets and the stars and the dates of birth? Is it astrological, or where the patterns and the solids come from? The patterns.
No. The pattern is downloaded by Mikio Sankey. He uses very much the tetrahedron. Tetrahedron is like a 3D pyramid. The way he describes it is that all the esoteric acupuncture pattern will create a spin field. So it's a synergy between the practitioner holding the needle, which is very important, and directing the chi, manipulating the chi, and your intent. And it creates that synergy effect of that tetrahedron spin. So every needle that goes in is creating a spin field. So if you're using so many extra number of needles and creates a pattern, that pattern will go back to that magnetic picture again, you know, the up and down picture. Yeah, that's it, the tetrahedron. It will create that field and it magnifies it more and more. And that field is actually what we call a gateway into higher dimensions. Only if the person is ready and want to move into that I have to. And so it's a synergy effect between the practitioner, the needle manipulating the chi, creating that spin field, the 3 combined together, and your intent will create whatever it is that you need to create. And
okay,
at the end of the day,
now I can see why you're so excited about it.
Yeah,
you're creating a gateway for the higher vibrations or purer vibrations, frequencies for that person to come in.
Yes,
for them to fill up.
Or walk through. I describe it as what I'm doing to the person when they are talking to me is I am just unlocking a safe for you. You know how when you have a safe, you have to know the combination to that safe. Well, I'm just doing the combination for you. You have to decide when you want to turn that lever and open that gate and go through. You don't have to. But the lock is there. The combination is done for you. That's my job. Your job now is to decide if and when you want to open a gate to go through to higher consciousness at your level and your development. I tell you what, the treatment is addictive. I never have to tell people to come back. They do, because when you feel together and centered and all your size and the Rubik's Cube is the same color, you know you want to be like that. And when you are not like that, you know, I'm not like that, so I've got to do something. So it sells itself, because we are supposed to be centered. We are supposed to be aligned all the time, 24/7. But life gets in the way, our ego gets in the way, our emotions get in the way and throws us out. So you throw yourself out long enough and you're going to start asking questions. Okay, I've got to do something about this. Who can I call? Oh, I'll call Daphne. So that's where it goes. And everybody at their own pace. At their own pace. It's very acceptable. Yeah, that's why I'm so passionate, because it's not judgment. It's not discriminating. Everybody's learning at their own pace. Whether they're ready to look at it spiritually themselves, If they're not, that's fine, because they're going to walk out of here relaxed and feeling good, and their pain's relieved and they're feeling better. That's all they want. So you've got to be satisfied with that.
That sounds wonderful. Now let's move on to some of the other things that you teach, because you do workshops, and I was really interested in there's a couple that I'm interested in. So I'll just start off with the first one, the Feng Shui.
Yeah, Feng Shui, yes.
And I saw that you teach the Dragon Door School or something like that. It just sounds really interesting. Tell us a little more about that, please.
Yeah, Feng Shui, it's a very complex way of, rearranging or rectifying your environment. See, that's part of the healing center, is to be able to offer people a package of harmonizing your body, your mind, your spirit. It's not only just having good health in the body, but it's your environment you've got to look at too. And that's why I got interested in Feng Shui, because, okay, it doesn't matter how healthy I am, but my environment's got to be compatible to me. So when you align your home or office or wherever you are living, align that to be balanced and harmonized, you are balancing your outer world with your inner world. That's you. So you've got a double whammy, a positive double whammy. So that's great. And that's why Feng Shui is so important for people to have a basic understanding. And there are different schools out there, and they're very complex and very, very hard to understand, based on whether you live up northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, whether you can use a compass, whether you know astrology, whether you know numbers. That's just too hard. I'm one for the quick, easy way. Easy and understandable. That's what I'm all about. So I teach the Dragon Door because it doesn't matter where you live. In the North Pole, South Pole, it doesn't matter if you can speak or not speak English. It's so simple. It's based on, again, Chinese medicine, the 5 elements, yin and yang, and qi, and your intuition, all the foundations of Chinese medicine. So that's why I like that style, because it doesn't matter where you live. As long as you have an entrance, you're using a bagua, 8-sided shape, you have an entrance or doorway to something, a room, a house, a block of land, or even your desk. You have 4-sided desk, you have an entrance, which is where you sit in front of the desk. As long as you've got that, you can apply that. So it's very easy way to do the Dragon Door. And you can rectify and change anything with your intent. You don't have to buy special tools or equipment. You just have to know, this crystal works for me, or this piece of paper is going to work for me. Your intent is you're going to put this colored paper right there to change energies of that. It's going to work just as much as a big ball of crystal sitting there. So the way I teach it is simplified.
What changes did you make after you did the course?
I aligned pretty much all the common rooms of my home, and then my whole house, and then the block. So when I only moved here where Jeffrey came to visit me 5 years ago. Was when I first bought the block. I feng shuied the whole block and created now a little bit of esoteric stuff into feng shui. Is I create a Merkaba spin on the block first to connect the energy, to cleanse, to fill it before I start building. Then when I built on top of the land, from leveling it out to the foundation, I put crystals and foundations into the foundation. As my other half Darren was pouring concrete, there was crystals embedded in there. And then the walls came up. As you know, in construction, the walls and the frames and the sheeting work comes. I'd go into all the rooms and I would put in the symbols for Reiki in there as well, because I can, before the paintwork goes in. So pretty much everything possible I can think of and know about, I applied that to the building, in each room, the block, and the whole land as well. So, and you can ask Jeffrey when he came, you have a sense of something. It's just something about it, the energy shift. I think Jeffrey went down to the bottom of the Zen garden and he just sprawled out like a spread eagle. and enjoying it.
Yep,
Because you
that's
can
right.
feel the energy shift is different. Yeah. So that's fun to do. And when I teach people how to do it, it's fun. I said, there's no right and wrong. If you don't believe what I'm telling you with that door is incorrect, if you think it's correct, then it's correct for you. There's no right and wrong with anything. It's your intent. If you strongly believe that that works, then it will work. Yeah. As long as you've got some guidelines, it's all about having fun and creating that. If you create so much stress trying to work out up and down and north and south and east and west and astrology and numbers, you're not going to get it working. It's too confusing. If you're confused, you're not going to be happy. Pretty easy, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I
that's
like
good.
teaching the Feng
Nice when
Shui.
it's not too complicated. Yeah.
It's very popular. I try and do that twice a year because people just find it very easy to do. You know, if you're renting, for example, you can't do too much, but you can do the most common room, which is your lounge room or your bedroom, because your intention. It's like those Chinese jade boards. You know how they carve it? It's one layer inside another layer and another layer, and there's no breaks in there. Well, you can do the same thing with Feng Shui. You don't have to Feng Shui your whole house. You can just pick a room, one of those little layers inside, and you just correct the balance of that. And that's all you need to do. Because it's basically four corners you need to do. And the two out of those four corners, only two is the most relevant for our everyday occurring. And that is abundance and relationships. That's the most important. Everybody wants that. So if you can get those two corners right, you're right for the rest of the house anyway. Anything else is a bonus.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
really intrigued because I didn't. So you're saying the four corners of a room or a house stand for different qualities in our lives, do they?
Yes. So if we can, now I've got to try and get my ups and downs right now. If you are at your doorway in a room, let's look at our desk because that's easier. We're sitting at the front of our desk, and you have four corners. You have a top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. Okay, so your top right corner is always your relationship. The top left is always your abundance. But if I move from my seat and I'm going to sit on the other side of the desk, for example, that becomes my entrance now, right? Because I'm sitting the opposite side. The two top corners are now the two bottom. See, so it's your intention. Where is your entrance? Your entrance don't usually move. You don't move your doors around. So your doors are locked in there. You find your doorway. Then you look for the top right and top left corners of that door. Top right is your relationship. Build and harmonize your relationship. An abundance of everything you want, build that as well. So everybody wants abundance of everything, and everybody wants great relationships with all. So they're the two most important things. And, you know, in Australia, we have so many houses that are built like an L shape. You've seen those? L shape? Yep, the L shape is what? Usually the L is like it's facing the road, and one great big chunk of that L missing is your relationship corner. The whole chunk of it missing. So you wonder why people have a relationship problem living in L-shaped houses. So you can rectify that. You can change that. It's that you don't have to tear your whole house down, but you can just change. It's creating harmony. You balance it. You put something in that corner that's missing, and to create that balance of that 8-sided or 4-sided square again, and it brings back harmony into your relationship. And it's your intention of planting a tree right in that corner that's missing, and that tree is going to represent relationship. Maybe hang something there that's nice, like chimes, because sound, and feng shui is meaning. Feng, wind, shui is water. So you need to harmonize that. So grow your tree, hang your chime. You're creating the wind blowing, and then the sound is relaxing, and the trees just fill in that gap that you've just got missing from the L shape. And the abundance corner, I tell you what, tanks are the way to go. Put a big tank in the top left, because water is abundance. You have an abundant supply of water in the ocean. water is the biggest abundance you can get. That's why the rich and famous people always love to be in the ocean, love to have waterfront homes. Get your tank and put it on the top left-hand corner and amplifies that abundance.
And that's why we
Yeah.
always have a fish tank in a Chinese restaurant.
And then on top of that, they have, if it's a goldfish one, they always have goldfish in there and one black one.
What's
Yeah.
the black one for?
The black one is there to absorb any dark energies, and it's usually the first one to die.
Oh.
I don't know if it's true or not, though. But that's
You don't
why
want
they
to be
do
the
it.
black fish. It's okay being the black sheep, but not the black fish.
That's right. Blackfish dies. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, okay.
It
Bad karma.
absorbs all. That's right. Bad energies. It absorbs all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's a fun sort of doing feng shui. People, as I said, I just tell all my class attendants, just have fun with it. Don't be so serious. If you get confused, just pick one room, do one room, and then get really excited, do a second room and a third room. And if you get really excited, get to plan up your house and do your whole house. Yeah, a bit at a time. Don't try and do the whole lot because you'll get so overwhelmed. You think, oh, I'm going to forget that. It's too complicated. And there it goes. So, just to me, everything has to be fun. Everything you do, including your health, your diet, lose weight, and I get a lot of that too. How can I? Well, make it fun. What do you want to diet for? Just change your lifestyle. What's change your lifestyle? It's simple. Pick one thing you want to do and change, and then grow from there. We complicate things.
Yeah, I often have. That's one of the things that I tell my clients who are coming to me for hypnosis for depressions. They often don't do anything for themselves. All weeks.
They're too depressed.
Yeah.
They're too depressed to do it.
Julia,
So let's talk about atomic shields.
Okay, atomic shields. We're going to go into the esoteric talk now. Okay, atomic shield is you put that there yourself. Everybody put that there themselves when they incarnated, because of course before you incarnated you were spirit. So you did that to put that around you. It actually is. It's found between the etheric and the astral layer of your body, the non-physical. Now you're looking at it's sitting in there. It's like a big bubble of thickened energy between your etherics and the astral plane of your non-physical body, and you decided to put it there because when you go for your 90-90 nap at night time, you go astral traveling. And sometimes you get really excited and you want to go home to wherever your star family. It could be the moon, it could be Jupiter, it could be, I don't know, whatever planet you want to go. It could be to another universe, anything. You could be traveling anywhere. And you could be trying to pull in information that are really, really high frequency and very much past your capability of understanding. So when you come back from your sleep at night time, you have to filter through your atomic shield what information is okay for you to cope with when you wake up. What information is not okay because it's too powerful and too strong for you. Because if you didn't have that and you go over to another whatever dimension and you retrieve all these high power information that's way beyond your understanding in the physical, but not in your spirit self, because you're capable when you are out there. If you didn't do that, it's going to come through and you are going to have a nervous breakdown because it's too much information overload. That's what nervous breakdown is. It's just, your wires are sizzled out because too much high information. So it's designed there to filter through what is allowed to come into your physical body for you to work with when you wake up, or it's to stay out there until such time you are ready to receive those high information at the time when you are ready. The thickness or density of your atomic shield is dependent on your level of consciousness. The higher your level of consciousness by your own self working, the thinner it becomes because you can bring in more. But if you're somebody who's not interested in that, it stays thick and protects you from getting too much information from other dimensions so that you don't fry by the time you wake up. You know, you heard it, the old story, sleep on it and you get the answers in the morning. And that's why. Because you sleep on it, you're getting information from your spirit or your soul to areas where you need to find the information and the answer. And then you wake up and you go, aha, okay, now I know what to do with that. Where did that come from? Because you got it from out there. Yeah, so that's what your atomic shield is for your own protection, and you put it there yourself. Interesting, eh? We're a crazy mob. Yeah. So, yeah, atomic shields are very important. The more work you do on yourself, the thinner your shield becomes because it allows you to receive more. Yeah.
And could you thicken it? I mean, sometimes you do get younger ones who are so aware of everybody else's thoughts, and they can see ghosts and spirits, and then they worry about having voices in it. Sometimes it feels to me like we actually have to suggest them. I tend to suggest that they actually have to put in an elephant skin to protect themselves because it overwhelms. Is it actually possible to adjust that, the atomic shield?
In some ways it is, but you're looking at, I would be inclined to think what you're thinking is the younger generation, especially you're talking about younger generation. That's what I'm sort of getting. Yeah, especially if they're born after, say, 2012 or even 2010. The kids that are born from 2012 after the big 2012 period have come through with different DNAs than what you and I are born with. As you know, we have 24 DNA, not 23 chromosomes. The 24th is never recognized by science because it's in the quantum field, so they can't measure it. So therefore, we only have 23 that they can test and see. But we've all got human beings that are designed with 24. So when you and I were born and we come through, the 24th one is disconnected. That's what we say, we're disconnected from our crown chakra to source. But that's why we now have to go through our own awakening to reconnect all that. But the younger generation, they're born with that already. The energetic has changed. The grid system has changed in 2012. So when they're born, it's already switched on and connected. And they're supposed to be. Some are coming through super hypersensitive. They just, just sense everything. And it's just so much trauma for them. But it's all different makeup. And that's the reason why it's not so much adjusting their shield, it's teaching them, and that's their core lesson too, to come through prepared or not prepared, and to learn the challenge to face different densities and energies in 2012. There's what we call the crystalline kids. We're the indigo. We're the second batch of the indigo. We came to prepare the grid system, the crystalline grid, ready for them. And now the crystalline ones are coming through, and very soon the platinum ones are coming through as well, even higher vibration, highly connected, highly intuitive, more so than the younger generation now. The me, I generation, and that's what they're all about, because they know, they do have a knowing, more of a knowing than we've ever had before. We're working to get ours, but they're born with that knowing. So that's why they're super sensitive. Yeah, they're super sensitive. Even little 2-year-olds, you see them, they just got this in their eyes that they already know. And I hear stories all the time. My little grandkid goes to preschool and walks up to the preschool teacher and says, "Miss, you can't teach me that. I already know all that stuff." What little kid says that to their preschool teacher? So it's all happening. And they're the batch that they do have a knowing. And we're trying to catch up.
So this is exciting. Does that link into what you're teaching about Lemuria Atlantis, in terms of some people believe it's in the past, some people believe it's in the future?
Yeah, it's there's never really a past, present, and future. It's always now anyway. So I was teaching that because there was an interest there, and also from my own remembrance. Often I have memories and images. My memories usually come with images, like a section of a movie. They never give you the whole movie, mind you. It's only a segment, so you've got to piece them together. So bits of that, it's when the times that I was in Lemurian, that's how I got investigated with Lemuria, Atlantean times, and where was I, or what was I doing. And when I found out about what I was doing, then, when I do the Akashic record reading, I sometimes see them in that person in the lives in that. And whatever they were doing, I'm just pulling out now, for example, if I was doing a reading for somebody and they're showing me a lifetime when they were Atlantis or Lemurian time, they could be a crystal worker. And then, they would have brought that through to this lifetime, and they're working very much with crystal. They love crystal. They can talk to crystal. They just love it. They've got a house full of crystal. Where did that come from? Well, that's where it came from. Because your lifetime in Lemuria has taught you to do that, a crystal healer worker. So you brought that frequency back into this lifetime. And so that's what the Akashic record teaches you that. That's what you brought through. And for me, it was more philosophy when I was in Lemuria. So for me, it's the teaching side of things and understanding, and to be able to download or downstep esoteric studies into layman terms so that average person can understand it. Yeah, and that's from my time in Lemuria as being a philosopher teacher. So again, it's a matter of interest. Some people are interested in it, some people aren't. To be interested in that, it usually indicates that you need to remember something from that time that's going to help you in this lifetime. Yeah.
And what are you finding people are remembering about Atlantis?
Not so much Atlantis. People are not remembering is when I do the Akashic record reading, that it may come up for them, positive things or the strong attributes that they were not even aware of. Like, for example, I might see somebody back in those times where they were herbalists. They were using herbs to heal. And I might ask this person, have you got interest in plants and herbs? And they might say, no, I like gardening, but never thought about herbs. And then I might point out to them, okay, that may be something that you might want to consider for your future. Get some books on herbs, play around with that and see what resonates with you. Sometimes you just need to drop a little hint, a seed for them to run with what they used to do. Yeah. And that's why it's helpful for them. And I'm teaching people to read it themselves so that you can get your own information. So really to help yourself, really. I do it myself all the time to find out what I can get information to help me through the challenges or whatever I'm facing every day. Yeah, because it belongs to you. It's like reading your own medical record.
How do you get the library card then to get into the Akashic Records?
The library card is, there are protocols to follow, just like the library. You've got to go to your town library, you've got to sign in for that, and you've got to return your library book. The same sort of thing. There are protocols that you have to follow, but there are different layers and different levels. I'll give you an example. Everybody is tapping into the Akashic record every day. You're using it every day. For example, you might wake up in the morning, you decide, I'm going to do this today instead of that. Where did that come from? See, you went into your Akash and you found your probabilities and you chose that. I don't feel like eating that today. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to eat that today because I think it's going to be better for me. Where did that come from? You went into your Akash to get the probabilities of what's best for you right this minute. So you chose to have that rather than something else. So everybody is using and living from their Akash and changing their Akash every moment of every day. The more you change, the more you are putting more information in and changing that. But when you do your own reading or get somebody else to read your Akashic record, you're now going into a U-Butte library with a library card to give you permission, and you're going into the catalog to research a certain topic that you want to find information. So basically, you're just streamlining, going into your card and want to nut out a specific thing that you want to find out. That's it. And it's a very sacred thing, your Akashic records. It's very protected. So no baddies and no bad intentions are allowed. So that's how protected it is. It's protected by the beings of light. So there are protocols that you have to follow. But just on a layman term, we're using it every day ourselves by pulling out information. Yeah, and when you sleep on it, you are going into your Akash, finding the best probable choice that you can make and the best outcome, and that's all you're doing. Yeah, there's no great mystery. It's just that we like to mystify everything so we can, be afraid of it or embrace it. Yeah. And again, I'll be teaching the accessing your own Akashic record in a couple of weeks' time. And that's to help people try to tap into it themselves. It's like everything, you can learn to drive. Anybody can learn to drive, but you've got to learn to be able to have confidence to drive on your own, to get the information that you want to get out of that. And once you get used to it, you don't ever want to get away from that, because it's full of information to help you. That's what it's designed for. You did that yourself. Every lifetime, every time you jump into this incarnation, you've got access to that. And you put it all there for you, to help you.
Jules?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in the probable outcomes. So we tend to think of records as records of what's already happened. And yeah, I mean, I know it's parallel, but sort of in the different lifetimes on a linear fashion. But I do know, obviously, from my work, that you can also do simulations, if you're trying to work out whether you should be taking a job or dumping a job or leaving a relationship, etc., that you can do that. And when you're saying, when we choose to eat something else, we're looking at probable outcomes. So you're talking about the Akash also being part of a possible simulator. Is that?
Yes. The Akashic record is never set. It's movable. It's malleable. It's changeable all the time. The outcome is just endless probabilities. You choose what you want because you're given free will. That's what human beings have. We have free will. We have probabilities to choose to go left, right, or center, and none of them are wrong. They're just probabilities. It might be an outcome that is the best for you, that makes you the happiest, or it might turn out to be not quite so happy. But what will you do with that? Try a different one next time. So every time you make a decision, you're adding to your Akash. There are many, many lifetimes that you've had. So there will be many lifetimes that have really good probabilities. Same scenario, because, at the end of the day, every time you incarnate, you're learning the same lessons anyway until you get it. Once you get it, you don't learn that. So what are the chances of you going to your Akash and find a probability that was better with the same challenge that you had? You want to pull that out and experience that in this lifetime so that you don't have to experience it again. That's why you want to pull information out.
Yeah, I think one of our listeners, Barbara, has made a good point when she says maybe it's the ingredients with which to create. So I think, when we try and make decisions, it's the quality and the principles that we're trying to adhere to rather than maximizing percentage of success.
Yeah, well, I would put that in a simpler sort of way that I would put across to my students or clients. Don't make decisions from your brain. It's not designed to. Make decisions from your heart. It's never wrong. Your heart doesn't lie. Your brain does. What do you feel? And I say to people all the time, if you want to ask a question, ask the person, how did they feel? Because if you ask the person how they feel, it takes them a second or two to be able to switch over from your brain mode into your heart mode. If you feel from your heart, you don't feel from your brain. You think with the brain, and you'll, 50-50 right. But with your heart, you're never wrong. It doesn't tell
What do you
lies.
reckon, Jeff?
It holds. Pardon?
Jeff, do you reckon that holds true for you as well?
Are we talking in relationships, or are we talking
Anything?
anything?
Yeah, anything.
Probably, if anything, I'd probably go with a gut feeling.
Well, your gut feeling can be wrong. It's only an 80% chance, but your heart is 100%. And why? Because you have two hearts to start with. You have your high heart and your lower heart. You have all the memories of all your lifetimes that you have possibly experienced behind your thymus gland. So all the memories are there from all your past, present, and future, all rolled into the one. That's why you have access of insurmountable information and knowing that comes from your true heart, not from your gut. The gut can be influenced by the state of your gut.
Well, it's more of a feeling, if it feels right.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You've got an 80% chance. You can feel right in your gut. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll do that. My gut tells me no. Yeah, go with that. Chances are it's right. But sometimes you just need to think, but then what about if I'm, and then you second guess yourself. I've done that. You've done that. You sort of gut feeling says that, and then you think, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm just imagining it. Okay, let's take it a step further and go into your heart and go, okay, take a deep breath. How do I really feel about that situation? Get the first instant feeling, and it will back up what your gut feeling is saying.
Well, then you go and sleep on it too, and wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. You can't go wrong sleeping on it. But you've got to hope and pray that you remember what you got when you went to sleep. That's the thing.
Yeah,
sometimes you don't remember.
Too thick.
That's right. Sometimes you wake up, oh bugger, I can't remember it. Well, it's not that you don't remember. Yeah, maybe it's because you're not ready to remember that as yet. Maybe a couple more sleeps you might remember it. Yeah. I don't believe there's anything wrong. There's no such thing as a wrong. Everything is right. Everything is as it is. Yeah, we just speak our mind. Yeah, your brain just tells you right and wrong, left and right. That's all. There is no such thing. It's just one. Yeah. Have I confused you yet?
Because I dreamt this morning that I was making porridge and I was moving, and then there was something else that I think was a bit more important than making porridge, but I can only remember making porridge.
Well, maybe that was more important at the time. The porridge was more significant.
Maybe think of Ronnie Barker and his TV show Porridge, where he was in the jail.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll just throw it out there. Hey, anything else that we should be talking about that we haven't spoken about?
I don't know. Is there anything else?
Jules?
Yeah, I think you've got the Rainbow Bridge down as well.
Yes, the Anakarana. The Anakarana is, remember when I said when you're born, you just disconnect yourself? And then, when you grow up and you mature, you decide, oh, okay, I've got to find out a little bit more about my life. And then you start to reconnect. Well, you have your crown chakra, it's above your head. It sits about 6 inches above your head. Well, there's a gap between there and the top of your head. It's what we call the Endokarana. It's a rainbow bridge. That's like the bridge, like the Brisbane Bridge, the cross from one side to the other. So you need to build that bridge consciously. It's not given to you. You've got to build it consciously to make the connection between your lower centers into your crown, into your higher ones. And that's what the Endokarana is, the rainbow bridge, to connect you. Once you connect that and aware of that, it gets stronger and stronger as you connect. It's like tapping into your high-speed computer. Once you get your high speed, it's like boom, it's fast. It's just instant information coming in. That's what the rainbow bridge does for you. Information coming in faster and clearer. And everybody wants fast.
Yeah. In pranic healing, we learned to scan the different chakras, and one of them that we scan is this connection through. Yeah, was for some people it is high speed bandwidth. For
Yeah,
others,
that's
it's
right.
just like sometimes
That's,
there, sometimes not there. It's like still dial up. Doop, 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 doop.
yeah, that's right. It's just like your mobile phone. You've got no reception. Oh boy, it's shut down somewhere along the way. So you
Yeah,
build
often
it.
posture can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So as I said, no great mystery. It's all there.
Mm.
We're more, as I said at the end, at the beginning of the show, we are more than physical body. So this is the time now to understand, look beyond your physical. You are so much more. Once you learn more of the anatomy of your spirit, of your non-physical body, you'll get really excited. This is, your body's just nothing. It's just there. It's just like your car. You want to drive a Mercedes or you want to drive a rusty old bomb, and that's your choice. But you're still going to drive it. And how you drive it, you want to appreciate it. So you appreciate your body and you appreciate the spirit inside of that that's driving it. The body doesn't drive itself, your spirit drives it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And I think there's the interdimensional capabilities that we have. The more people access that, the more chance we have of getting the collective across in one piece without falling
Yeah,
apart.
that's right. Yeah, you just feel like getting everybody, tapping it all, those science fiction with all these wires coming out of your head. And you want to put one of these into everybody so everyone's on the same page.
It's called
So that
mobile
it's,
phone technology. Like
yeah, that's right.
everybody's got a
Yeah,
mobile
but
phone. Cool.
yeah, but sometimes it doesn't work in some areas, and yeah, it'd be so much easier if the 9 billion people on the planet are it's on the same page at the same time. But then I suppose there's no purpose then. There's no fun.
Well, I think we are on the one level. We are all at one. It's just the ego and our assumed personality gets in the way, and then there's a bit of a wrestle between the two.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we're working with, that realizing that, just to actually put it away, put it aside. Yeah, pretty strong part of our personality is the ego, isn't it?
We are the Borg. Resistance is futile.
Pretty much.
Good. Hey, Toowoomba. So, for people listening and watching from around the world, Toowoomba would be 2 hours drive from Brisbane Airport.
I'd say so. A good hour and a half at least. Yeah.
So they head up to Toowoomba. They turn left. They go out towards the university, come the Japanese Gardens, and hit that road through to Warwick. And it's only about another 15 minutes or so, 10 minutes or so from the university to Preston.
Yeah, only that. Probably only about 6-7 minutes. Not that much more. Yeah. It's a nice little area just behind the highway. It's very peaceful. It feels like you've hit the country, but you haven't. It's just off the highway. Yeah, very lucky. Even that journey in itself of finding something appropriately, it's like, hello, signposts are given to you all the time. You just got to look for them. The funny part, and I told Jeffrey this story 5 years ago when I wanted to expand my clinic and my services. I thought I'll expand it, and Darren and I, we went looking for a piece of land, couldn't find anything, and I just thought, oh, forget it, not meant to happen. And then lo and behold, Darren went driving as he does, and he found this plot. So he took me there that afternoon. We had a look, and we had to turn off the highway into Wise Man's Road, and then from Wise Man's Road we had to turn into Merlin's Court, which is where I am. At the beginning of it's only a short little court. At the beginning of it, the guy who actually named the whole area, his family owned it, and he put a big sign across his little house saying Crystal Heights. And I had to smile to myself. I thought, okay, is that a sign or what? No, I'm not going to believe it just yet. So I went to the block, looked at the block. I can't see the potential because I'm just not three-dimensional. But Darren says, oh, yes, you can do this, this, and this is big enough to do what we want to do. And I said, okay, what's the number? Because I'm into numerology. What's the number of this thing? And it said it didn't have a number. It was new. It was lot number 12, I think it was, or 11. And I thought, don't really like that. But then when we searched and found in the council, it wasn't a lot. It was number 8. Sold. Signed the contract there and then on that weekend. So how appropriate is that? Number 8, Merlin Court, Crystal Height. You turn off Wise Men's Road. So you can't get any more indications than that. So meant to happen.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story. So
Yeah,
internationally, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Oh, internationally, I don't know. Email, I suppose. That's the weaker side of me. Is the technical side. I'm assuming email, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your courses are still in person. They're not online yet, are they?
They're not online, but I can do, with the situation happening, I can do one-on-one through Skype. I'm that technical. I can do Skype. So yeah, it can be done on one-on-one basis, especially from people out in the country who don't want to come in. I have done that with them one-on-one. But it depends on what they're interested in. I'm flexible. You know, if people are interested, I will make it happen. Yeah, one way or another.
Yeah, you seem like a very determined healer. You know, so very adept and determined, and you just have a wonderful way of explaining these concepts in terms that everyone can understand. I think that's a great gift that you have.
Yeah, that's part of my journey. My soul journey is that purpose is that to be able to put it into layman terms, so that people can understand and use it. You know, what's the point of reading 10 books and really don't understand a word, and then even worse, because you don't understand, you don't apply it. So you put it into simple terms, keep it fun, then people are more likely to change. And that's what my purpose is, to help people to change themselves first. And I pride in saying I test everything first. I walk the walk and talk the talk. If I can't do it, I don't expect anyone else to be able to do it. So, yeah, it shouldn't be hard. It should be one step at a time and enjoy doing it. It's going to be challenging, but yeah, sure, you'll get over that. And you'll find a good bit, a happy bit that makes up for it, and you'll laugh about it. Like I'm laughing at myself now in the 1990s. How crazy was I to turn my teacher, my master away because I couldn't understand it, just went over my head. But it wasn't my time. I learned what I need to learn from him. Yeah.
Well, it's been a great pleasure having you on the show, Daphne.
Yeah, it's been great
listeners,
talking.
you've been listening to the Dreaming the New Dream. Thank you very much for joining us on Radio FM 88. You can download the app or watch it on the internet. And it's 24 hours music designed to lift your vibrations. So it's been a great evening with Jeffrey Shaw and Daphne Fung.
Thank you so much.
Who have we got on next week, love?
I believe we actually have Auntie Minnie Mace. No, we have from all the way from we have a shaman healer who channels Black Elk and who is his twin flame, Eliza Buffalo.
Oh, is that the lady from Florida?
I'm not quite sure where she is, but she channels Black Elk, and I've been following her for quite a long time. She's really good.
Okay.
Wow, interesting.
And there you go. Thanks.